Episode 74 comes on Super Bowl weekend. Hey, everybody. Nick Kypreos here. Real Kyper at noon show. What a week in the National Hockey League. So many storylines. Of course, the ongoing challenge, COVID, and a few changes to the National Hockey League and the Players Association in terms of how they handle the numbers. 11 games on tap last night. We know 3 were postponed. Is there going to be more? We'll get into that and so much more. We got Super Bowl weekend. That means Jordan, you guys are busy. Joe and Mac, we're going to go down to Florida, talk to Mac, see who he has in the Super Bowl. But there's also mean tweets last night on Jimmy Kimmel. I think we should do this. I think we should do this with you, Mac.
We don't need to. You just have to go on my Twitter feed.
I'm listening. He's hilarious. Hey, and that brings us to our thumbnail today, which was the Leafs veterans the gamble that they took on the likes of a Jason Spezza paying off. And we look at this game, and it's a young man's game. We've said that. It's gone completely on the opposite side. Before it was the wily veteran, and then they went with the young legs. But, Mac, there are a few guys thriving right now in the over 35 club. And at the top of the list anyways last night was Jason Spezza scoring a hat trick. That was his first one since, 2016. And, Mac, you only need a little over 12 minutes to do it.
And how much giggling would he been doing in his press conference last night? I mean,
there would have been vintage giggles from Jason Spezza.
Who was the coach that Ottawa brought in? Corey Clouston that benched. Was it Spezza or Heatley at bench? And I remember sitting with you at Sports and saying, I don't think this guy's going to last long as an NHL coach. But you know what? Spezza, a slapper from the point. Like, when have we seen that? So, hey, good on him. He's, you know what?
They weren't cheap goals, Mac. They were not cheap goals, but
not at all.
He did, and you'll never take, I don't want to take anything away from it, but he did take advantage of a very, very bad Vancouver Canuck team, including beating TJ Miller. He should never try to play defense ever again, Miller, ever.
Well, yeah,
and then, but the move on Edler too for the hat trick was a hell of a move.
It was a great move by Spezza. But what is with Edler? Like, talk about playing soft. Like, okay, is it Tanef's not there that's causing Edler to play like this? But I've never seen him this bad with the gaps he's given, the soft plays. I mean, he was horrible. But back to Spezza. The players love him. This is a guy that was a star. And he comes back to finish his career as a fourth line guy. The players love him. We saw him battle. We saw him fight last year in the playoffs. Come on, it's Jason Spezza is a great story.
It is
a longevity of his career. Who would have believed that Jason Spezza would finish his career like this in this role and it be a real high? That's what it is right now.
For Jason Spezza, the goals are great, but he spoke after the game about the affection that the players show on him, and it takes a special group, Mac, to embrace that. And the Leafs may be the only team, and we saw a little bit with Patrick Marleau, but Marleau didn't exactly, play as hard, say, as a Wayne Simmons, or to a lesser extent, the fight that he had in the bubble against Columbus, Jason Spezza, there is that added dimension that Patrick Marleau couldn't get to.
No, and not only that, but you go into games, especially on the road, and Jason Spezza, one night he's 10-0 in the face-off circle. I mean, that's a valuable commodity to have, that you can throw a veteran guy out there and he can win you a big face-off. He can be solid on your power play. I mean, that you say 12 minutes, but it's 12 good minutes a lot of nights he's been given. So, I mean, I think it's a great story. And, there's a few more. Well, obviously Simmons is another good story. I didn't particularly like the Simmons based on what he's played the last 3 years, but you you said he's finally healthy. And last night, he goes onto the second line with Tavares last night. Tavares wouldn't call it the second line.
Simmons, though, does not fall into our over 35 club.
No, but he looks like he's 35. We'll call him that.
At times he did when he was playing for Nashville.
Yeah, for sure.
Buffalo and Jersey. But when we watch, Spezza being able to skate that well, and then, we look at Joe Pavelski in Dallas. Now he's a different over 35 guy because he can play 20 minutes a night still, Mac, and lead the charge here. And he's doing that, especially without Sagan there in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, look, talk about a star how does he leave San Jose? I mean, a team that has got challenges, in my opinion, for leadership, and they let him walk away with the likes of Evander Kane and Carlson there. I mean, when would they need Pavelski anymore? And they let him go to Dallas, short deal. And you know what? I watched him the other night. I didn't see much of the game last night, but I watched him the other night. He's one of their best players. So how valuable is that?
Well, and you watch the Leafs, and everybody says they're playing their best hockey in years. They got a better balance. Mac, when I watch them, you'd almost hope now that you would be able to get the Leafs to measure up now against some of the better teams in the league. Unfortunately, if they're not playing Montreal, that the Canadian division is not giving them a chance to really measure, I think, how much they've come along here, because Vancouver was that bad.
I'll tell you what. You know what? I hate to keep going back to this, but how they can get away. I mean, how they're not getting. I mean, I know they're getting crucified, but this Markstrom thing, I'm telling you, if Markstrom plays for them last night, the game is on the line right till the end of the game. It is sad watching this team. They can't defend. They just look disorganized. I feel for Travis. They have taken a team and made it into a bunch of guys. Virtanen plays last night. I don't know what this guy brings to the table. Maybe they're trying to trade him. Maybe they're showcasing him because they're desperately trying to trade him. But,
well, you don't showcase
what is
him.
going on?
You don't get any takers the way it is right now.
No.
But they 4 and 6 nights, Mac, they look tired. I'm not going to use that as an excuse for how lethargic they were, but the lack of energy right from the get-go. They have no confidence 5-on-5. Pettersson, Mac, there's still issues 5-on-5.
Yeah.
The power play can get going, which it has had signs of, but they just look lethargic, Mac. And I watched towards the latter part of the game. The score is 7-3.
Yeah.
And you watch Wayne Simmons take a healthy run your best player, which is Quinn Hughes. And, there's another incident in Montreal where Romanov hits Ottawa's best player, Thomas Chabot, and then Nick Paul comes in there. And then, then there's that age-old argument. Why do you have to fight off of a clean hit and all of that? But, when I watch what Jordan Ben did engaging Wayne Simmons in a fight in Toronto, first of all, whether it's clean or not is irrelevant. You took a healthy run at my player where you could easily hurt him.
It was more than a healthy run.
So that warrants a fight, Mac. That warrants a word with Wayne Simmons, and Jordan Ben did that. But, for that fight to have an impact, it really has to resonate throughout your team in the last 3 minutes. And I'm not saying that another fight should have followed up and then another fight followed up, all of that. But it needed to draw the emotion that you don't just get to run our best player like that and not pay a certain price. I was so disappointed in the last 3 minutes of Vancouver after watching Wayne Simmons run your best player in a meaningless finish to a hockey game. And then again, no one says anything to anyone else. At the very least, wouldn't you want to go up to Mitch Marner and say, hey, listen, we got to play you a few more times here. I'm coming to get you. Like anything like that at all that can bring you together as a hockey club.
I'm telling you, like maybe we're dinosaurs.
Oh, no. We're dinosaurs. Big time.
Yeah, we are. But you know what? It's still important. When I saw the kid sitting on the end of the bench at the end of that game and the look in his face, and I'm thinking, oh man. And I full marks to Jody Ben for fighting
Jordan
Simmons.
Ben, yep.
Jody Ben. But then I like enough of this patting each other. Good job after the fight.
Well, it's not a good job, and it's not, there shouldn't be an acknowledgement. Hey, you did your job, I did my job. No. You ran my best player.
Damn right. And I look, Simmons did his job. This is not Simmons to me. Look,
he put the cherry on top. That's what he did.
You want to believe it. Simmons did his job, and I was proud of Simmons Simmons has come in and he said from day one, and full marks to him. I wasn't a big fan because of how I watched him play the last 3 years, but I'll tell you what, he said what he was going to do when he came to Toronto. He said he would do whatever it took to be an important guy in the team. Last night he's on the second line and he does that to the other team's best player. I'm telling you what, if I'm coaching and I'm on the bench, I'm pretty pumped about what Simmons did. And I don't want to see Hughes get hurt. Don't get me wrong. Nobody wants to see, I want to see Hughes get his feelings hurt, but I don't want to see him get hurt. But I'll tell you what, full marks to Simmons for that. And full marks for Ben for standing up to him. But I know one thing, if McEwen would have been dressed, he would have been going out. He would have been going out the next shift that Simmons was on the ice, and there would have been another one. Or he would have been going out to deal with somebody else. He wasn't dressed last night because Virtanen's in the game.
The Simmons hit on Quinn isn't about a guy having to fight off of a clean hit. It's about Vancouver and sending a message that you don't get to run our best player. And it's also a message to Quinn saying, we've got your back. I saw nothing out of that in the last 3 minutes out of Vancouver. They are not a close team.
And it's more about the morale of the entire group, the morale of the entire
They had
team.
It, Mac, in the bubble.
Exactly.
Where is it now?
I remember hearing that this team going into the bubble, we talked about it. I had heard from people inside the organization that this team felt they could beat anybody. Going into the bubble, they felt that way. Well, I haven't liked what I've seen, I'll tell you that. And it goes back to, I'm sorry, but it goes back to losing too many veterans and not replacing them with good enough players. That's what it especially when it's your goaltender. That makes up for a lot of problems.
Yeah, there's some issues there. And
but full marks to the Leafs. Hey, the Leafs haven't had this, Nick. The Leafs, Dubas said we're going to be harder to play against. I've watched them a lot of nights. I didn't think they were harder to play against, but I'll tell you what, Simmons is trying to make that happen.
I'll tell you what, too,
trying to make that happen. And Hall on the back end, Muzzin, they're battling. Yeah. They're battling. Full marks.
I'll tell you what a lot of people aren't talking about. Even the analytic is that the Leafs have revamped their system. Okay, they are in many ways a dump and chase team, and you're sitting there going, well, no, they're not. And it's like they are when they need to be. When they don't have the line and they don't feel like they can gain it with puck possession.
Safe. They're playing safe.
You know what they used to do, Mac? They used to re-loop, and they used to come and then do the big loop in the neutral zone. That's gone, Mac.
Yeah.
They are a much more intelligent. They manage the puck much better now, and people are going to start noticing it now more and more because as the games get more important down the stretch. But they're not a team that turned the puck over nearly how they used to, especially in the neutral zone.
And they've got the genius looking after their power play in Manny Malhotra. Like, obviously, I screwed up. I coached Manny for 5 or 6 years. I had him in Columbus for, I think it was 5-6 years there. Why didn't I put him on the power play? He's so goddamn smart on the power play, and I just used him as a penalty killer. How dumb was I?
Well, it is Toronto, Mac, and there is a sense that the media can build up a lot of guys. You know, once upon a time, Babcock had a guy named Jim Hiller there that was the greatest power play guy ever as well.
Yeah,
So, you know, but good on Manny. Hey, listen.
Hey, good on him.
Manny's going to be an NHL coach within 2 years with the backing of the Toronto media.
Oh, big time.
Right?
Big time. Oh, yeah, for sure, which is great. Look, smart move by Manny.
Smart move.
Who looks at the Toronto Maple Leafs and says, oh, I wouldn't mind that job as their power play coach with Marner and Matthews and Riley to start with, and Nylander, Tavares, like seriously. But when Joe Thornton comes back, we can do another thumbnail, the over 40 club is and put Brady on that picture with him.
Tom Brady and Joe Thornton and Chara. You can't forget Chara.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I want to stick with the over 35 and talk about how Ovechkin just passed Mike Gartner on the all-time goal list. And I think his next target is Phil Esposito. I think it's 7-17, Mac. And
wow, what a story.
You know, you just wonder now, you know, you still believe that if we can somehow get through this pandemic, there's an all-time record that could be waiting for this guy, but still showing that he's still the best goal scorer, pure shooter out there.
Imagine George McPhee, what he thinks. I pick up the phone and phone him before the draft, before Ovi's draft, and say, you know, would you consider, you know, flipping picks? I had the 4th pick in the draft. Would you consider flipping picks? And he said, Doug, are you serious? He didn't quite say it that way. Are you serious? Do you know who we're taking with the first pick? Anyway.
709.
Wow.
Back, and he moves past Mike Gartner. And I would think he could do more chin-ups than Mike Gartner, don't you?
Couldn't do more chin-ups than Mike Gartner. Mike Gartner, he was the best fitness test guy ever. The best ever. Me as the assistant coach in Washington with my clipboard, marking as Mike Gartner was doing his dips, and I was marking them off. And Mike stops at 27 and he says, how many did I do last year? And I said, I looked at the chart. I said, you did 27 last year. He does 28 and then he jumps down from the bar. Yeah. He wasn't giving me anything. And the year before I did it with Brian Sutter in St. Louis as assistant coach, and Sudsy would go till his arms would fall off on the dip thing, you know? So yeah, Mike Gardner was a natural, man. He was a natural.
Nick Kypreos here with Doug Maclean on the Real Kyper at Noon show. Keep the comments coming. Let us know how you feel about Ovechkin, whether or not it's very doable for him to become the all-time goal leader and pass Wayne Gretzky at 894, presently at 709. Our thumbnail is over 35, Mac. This is a guy that's over 35 years old in Ovechkin and needs a new contract, Mac. This is not easy. Oh. It's not easy for the Washington Capitals to stroke him a 5-year deal, let's say $12.5 million per.
But you know what?
Is it, or is it easy?
It's easy for one. Think of how much money he's made the owner in Washington. Ted Leon's. I mean, he bought the team from Abe Poland years and years ago. Imagine how much money Ovi has made him. And you know what? Is it easy to stroke it? Well, you have to look at the business model, but it's I don't know how tough it is.
Well, Matt, come on.
It's not the term. You can't give him the term. But
if you went by your principle of just how much money he's made 10, then the guy should be making $30 million a year. But that's not the way it works here.
No, but what works is you can pay him big money and give him shorter term. But you know, Ovi, the way the Stars are, it comes back to a little bit about what kind of team am I going to have around me. I mean, it's the Brady model. It's the superstar Sid model, you know, and I mean, how much money do you need? Like, seriously.
Yep. How much money do you need? That's a good question for you. We'll ask you that a little later on in the show. How about that?
Yeah, right.
All right, let's go around the league a little bit. It's Friday. We're getting ready for the weekend here.
Hey, just a minute.
What?
Just a minute. You missed something there. I know you're the host. I know you're in charge.
Your injuries, what?
No, you didn't talk about the Romanov hit on Shabbat and what Paul did.
Well, I compared it. Yeah, you're right. We went down the path with Wayne Simmons and Jordan Benn.
We want to have more goon talk.
Well, that was, first of all, Romanov hit Thomas Shabbat last night. And full marks for Ottawa coming in and alleviating a lot of pressure to get a win. But it was a clean check, Mac.
It was a beautiful hit.
But I saw it more of a check that fell within the boundaries in the context of the game and not a meaningless taking a healthy run at a kid who's a little vulnerable when there's 3 minutes left in the game. But to my point, everybody again will argue that was a meaningless exchange because now you got to fight on clean hits. And I get it at face value, that argument, but you don't know, you don't speak necessarily of what it does and the domino effect it would have even on team morale to the individual Thomas Shabbat. And that's what people don't understand. Like there's a domino effect from having a Nick Paul reaction. And last night, I don't think it hurt the Ottawa Senators in any way.
Oh, I mean, DJ Smith leaves that game and he's given Paul a pat in the back. Yeah, we had to kill a penalty, big deal. But I know people are going to yap about this, but it's all about team building. It's all about your group. And the group knows that they're a team. They're a team and they're behind one another. And I'm telling you what, it's so important. You look at the best teams in the NHL, whether we're dinosaurs or not, it's damn important.
It is, and it keeps the emotion running through your veins during a hockey game, and that's as much of a big part of a team success than anything else, Mac. Yeah, we know that, and I don't care what generation you're from. It minor hockey, the kids feel it from the moment you play. Is that there's emotion in our game, especially when you factor in the physical element of it. And I think it served well for the Ottawa Senators, and it didn't serve well for Vancouver because of the lack of reaction and emotion out of Vancouver. But if you look at the Montreal Canadiens, do you just tip your hat at a guy like Matt Murray? Because, Mac, say what you will, 6 saves. You need saves. You need goaltending. Ottawa had it. They haven't had it much all year, but they had it out of Matt Murray in Montreal.
Ottawa would have 2 or 3 more wins if Murray played the way he's supposed to play. They would have. Their goaltending's been god awful, and he owed them a win last night.
Their defense has struggled, Mac.
The defense has struggled, but he has not been very good, and he owed them a win. And you know what? That's what you need when you're struggling the way you need somebody to win you a game. You need your goalie to win you a game. You need your $6 million guy to win you a game. And he did last night. He stayed back, worked on his game for a couple of days, and he went to hockey school, goalie school, I guess. Who was that? Vic's goalie school? It used to be out there. He's got he worked on his angles. Like I'm listening, they're saying, well, he worked on his angles. I'm thinking, oh my God, work on his angles. Work on his head. Work on his head. Anyway, they need him.
Can't mention that game without mentioning the rookie, the leading rookie candidate now for Rookie of the Year, Tim Stützle. 3 points, Mac. He's now their best player.
Oh no, and Bruce Garriock in the intermissions giggling. Bruce was so excited he was giggling with glee.
Wow.
Tim Stützle. How good this guy's got a chance. Who does he remind you of, Nick? As a player?
Not me.
No, it's hard to come. I was thinking that last night. Like, who does he remind you of as a player?
Does he have when when Pettersson's at the top of his game? Is he
is he a Mats Naslund type of guy? I don't know.
Mats Naslund, Marcus Naslund?
Do you remember Mats Naslund, who played for the Montreal Canadiens?
I do.
I mean, I don't know who it is, but he is such a unique. I mean, not a big guy, but wow, talk about skill. And good on Ottawa. It was good to see them get a win, and I sort of felt a little relief for them.
All right, we'll stay within the North Division. Mac Connor Hellebuck moves into all-time wins in Winnipeg with 153. He passes Pavlich, who did it in Winnipeg and Atlanta. Solid goaltending. Winnipeg is a team that I think is waiting for the big guy, first of all, and we should see him, what we hope, next game, Pierre-Luc Dubois. But outside of their win against Calgary, there are some issues that have kind of come up with Blake Wheeler. And, we watched Paul Maurice really come to his defense as the media questioned his defensive liabilities. -9 Mac, one of the worst in the league. And Paul Maurice was not shy.
I know.
In telling everybody, back off.
I was caught off guard by that he did it. When you do that for your captain and your veteran, I mean, good on Paul for doing it. I love when he said, the goddamn analytics doesn't show what he does on the ice. So anyway,
that's a healthy run at the analytic boys.
Yeah, it was a healthy run. So it was a healthy run at a few people, but you know what? Like he said, Wheeler is all team. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews on Wheeler as a captain, mixed reviews. So you know what? That Paul should know, and Paul stuck up for him. And we know he runs the room.
Well, Paul said he runs the room. I know. And it's been abundantly clear. And more so publicly there than other places.
Yeah.
And then, you factor in, Mac, you factor in that Patrick Liney's no longer there. And there's a lot of people that want to connect the dots in terms of, whether or not there were issues internally in that room that Blake Wheeler controls. And I'm just wondering now if even the media, are they taking healthier runs at Blake Wheeler because they think he's the reason why that maybe Patrick Liney got traded?
Really interesting, because it is out there. So people can say what they want, but it is out there that there was some issues. So I don't know if that's why they're taking runs, or is it they see the minus and they say, well, it's a good opportunity, to take a run. But anyway, whatever it is, they're playing pretty good hockey.
Yeah, it just seems to me, that at times and Paul said that someone had a horseshit back check that didn't help him the other night, but he just doesn't seem to be skating with that same, vigor that we've seen in the past.
But he is, what is he, 34, 35? That is an ugly contract too in the next couple of years at 8-point-some million. But anyway, he's still a valuable guy. Paul loves him, and Paul knows. So you go from that,
Calgary, Sam Bennett,
wow,
has asked for a trade for probably the millionth time since the last 2 years. Mac, no secret that this guy would like a fresh change somewhere else, but it doesn't appear like Calgary's going to give him away anytime soon.
Well, look, it was Tree Living's one of his first draft picks. It might have been Tree Living's first draft when he took Bennett. I mean, you don't hear it very often, but he was taken ahead of Draisaitl, and people love Bennett. He was a great junior for Dougie Gilmore in Kingston. Look,
I'd want him, Mac. I would trade for him. I wouldn't give up, any more than I'd have to, but
Nick,
playoff time. I love this guy.
The Lucic, Dubé, Bennett line was their best line in the playoffs. And they haven't, I don't know. I would like to have a Calgary Flame fan tell me if they've played one shift together this year after the playoff they had as a third line. Bennett, is he a guy? Teams would love to have this guy and be a second line, third line guy. He doesn't have to put up a lot of points. He just plays hard and he plays playoff hockey. I saw D'Angelo's name mentioned today, maybe with Calgary, and I'm thinking, are you kidding me? There's not a chance they should go in that direction. I'm telling you.
They are talking.
Well, if they go in that direction, they need their heads red. They need their heads red if they go in that direction. Teams are
kicking tires on D'Angelo. And again, from our reaction from our show a couple of days ago, there are a lot of fans that don't want to see them in their favorite uniform.
I'm telling you, if I'm the Calgary Flames, I am not going there. I am not. And I'm definitely not doing Bennett in the deal. So we'll see if that shakes out. But, I mean, I'm a Bennett fan. There's some teams that, like, the Rangers could use Bennett. Let me tell you, the Rangers could use Bennett.
Yeah.
By the way, Chris Drury bails. We said he was a leading candidate in Pittsburgh. He pulls out, which he's done quite a bit. He loves Connecticut lifestyle. He loves with the Rangers, and then he gets a promotion to associate general manager. So I'm hearing Hextall is the leading guy in Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. And again, Mac, a guy like Chris Drury's got his whole future ahead of himself. And I would think that anybody, including Ron Hextall, and Ron might be the right guy, because if he was so strong in keeping Carter Hart out of his net when he was general manager of Philadelphia.
Until he was ready, you mean?
No, but until he thought he was ready, and it cost him his job, apparently.
Right.
Then he might have what it takes to go into Pittsburgh and say, these are the tough decisions that we're going to have to make, including what we do with Crosby and Malkin. Now, Crosby's earned the right to retire a Pittsburgh Penguin if he wants to, but Malkin, on the other hand, you can't keep everybody and just go to the sunset with them. You got to get some assets.
If you're going to get the Pittsburgh Penguin job, you better have big ones. You better not have budgie balls. You better have big ones. And
little tiny chestnuts.
And let me tell you who has big ones. Ron Hextall.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll never forget interviewing with Jimmy Rutherford for the coaching job in Pittsburgh. And he said to me in the interview, he said, okay, what are you going to do when Malkin and Crosby tell you to F off on the bench? What are you going to do? That was a question he gave me. That would indicate it's happened.
And you did this.
I said I let on. I didn't hear it. No, I told them they would never tell me to F off. They wouldn't. And I tell you what, all the time I was in the NHL, I was never told it to my face. Never. So you know what? But you better have a big set if you're going into Pittsburgh as a GM, and Hexy does.
That's a pretty good answer.
You don't want a politician in there.
That's a pretty good answer, but you still didn't get the job.
No, I know. Well, it was the other questions I must have screwed up.
Doug, what was the response on that? Did he just look at you like, what is wrong with you? They're going to say it, and you have to accept
No, you know what? We've talked since, and he said, Doug, you just had an unbelievably great interview, but he said, you're at a coaching for a long time. And he hires Mike Johnson. I thought, holy Christ, give me a break. But anyway.
He corrected that one real quick, didn't he?
And I like Mike Johnson in Portland. Anyway, it was a great experience.
All right, let's move it around the league, Mac, because I watched the tail end, and watching Nashville and the Florida Panthers last night was like watching
coaching.
Was like watching the last 3 minutes of an NBA game. You haven't missed anything. You just got to watch this. This last part.
But first, Nick, you have to watch more than that game, because Barkov, Huberdeau, and Forsberg were unbelievable in that game. Yeah, unbelievable. And you know what? I hate to interrupt you. Hines, I want to give Hines some credit. Johansson doesn't get one shift in the third period. Not one shift, because he was a dog with fleas. never got a shift in the third period, and they came back and won the game without him. That's coaching.
What a disaster trade
Oh,
that ended up being.
Good God. Anyway.
Seth Jones for Ryan Johansson.
But you're right. The last 3 minutes was
good on Huberdeau, 5 points. It looked like Florida was cruising, Mac.
Yeah.
They're up 5-3 late.
Big crowd in Florida last night. Big crowd.
They pull the goalie, 6-on-5. Yossi scores to make it 5-4. So still relatively controlled situation here. You gotta bring it home. You're still up a goal, still feeling good for Florida. And then they want to go back and they want to challenge. Florida wants to challenge a play on the Yossi goal that, to me, Mac, is mind-boggling beyond belief. And
Nick,
the play was quickly reviewed and no high stick. Penalty ensues to the bench minor for Joe Quenneville. And then Duchesne's ties the score 5-5, Mac. You can't make those mistakes.
Well, first of all, I remember sitting at Board of Governors meetings, at general manager meetings, and talking about the high stick rule. And the guys, Coley and Murph, and these guys saying it's 50-50 at best because the angles and the camera angles, it's so damn hard to predict that it's a penalty. That's the last one you want to call in a situation like that. And I mean, I love Joel Quenneville, but that's a $6 million coach that made a monumental mistake. And hey, the playoff races, those single points are going to be devastating. But I mean, it was an entertaining game, but
Barkov
is a horse. Now, Nick,
hold on, Mac. I just want to stay on this high stick for a second, okay? Because this whole challenge crap stems from the playoff game between St. Louis and San Jose. Do you remember the missed hand pass? The famous missed hand pass? So this essential rule was based on, again, if something crazy was missed, this high stick wasn't missed. It wasn't called by the official. Did you ever think for 1 second that you were going to get this call because the officials didn't see it? It's ludicrous. And you talk about Joel Quenneville at $6 million and he takes all the heat on it, Mac.
Right.
But don't tell me for 1 second there wasn't a video coach.
Oh no.
That went into his ear and say, challenge that. You've been behind the bench, Mac. Do you really think Joel Quenneville saw that high stick and definitively said that's a high stick?
Oh, that's where it came from.
Whoever is the video coach down there, I'm telling you, you may have cost them a playoff spot because, the only team Florida is going to challenge for one of those spots is Nashville.
Yeah. Here it is. It's Nashville, Florida, or Columbus getting the fourth spot. That's who's getting the fourth spot. One of those three teams are getting the fourth spot.
Like you can't make that video coach, buddy. People have been fired for less than that. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh, I'm telling you.
That was an embarrassing call. You completely hung out Joe Quenneville to dry on that challenge. Looked like an idiot because of you.
But Joel also has to make a decision on it because he knows it's a high stick call. He you know what? You got to make this call. By the way, this cannot be true, and somebody told me this yesterday. Somebody told me that Pittsburgh and Florida talked last year, whether it was at the end of the season or over the summer, Malkin for Barkov. That can't be true, and that Florida. I don't know if it was Zito or who was there at the time whether it was Zito or Talent, but somebody told me that was discussed, and that can't be true. somebody would consider giving up Barkov for Malkin.
I can't speak definitively on those two guys.
Have you heard that?
Mac, what I've heard out of Pittsburgh the last 3 years was, what do we do with Malkin? And there are some times we know that they've been so frustrated with him, and there's other times when they know he's arguably the second best player in the world. That's how he's been.
And when Sid's out, he carries the team.
But they have, for the last few years, contemplated moving him, keeping him, moving him. And I don't know where that came into play in the last little while with Jimmy Rutherford and the CEO there, Morehouse, Mario. I don't know where it all sat.
But Nick,
for you to tell me that there might have been conversations, 100%, I buy into that, because I know the conversations have been ongoing for the last 2-3 years on. I would drive. When do we cash out on Malkin?
I would drive Malkin. I would have the nicest Gulfstream jet you could ever find if I was getting Barkov out. Did you watch Barkov last night on those plays?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously. Anyway, and hey, that's no disrespect to Malkin. This guy's had an amazing career. Amazing career. And, you know, but I heard that and I thought, no, that can't be right. That can't be right.
How's Danilov?
Kuznetsov for Malkin. You know, but that's sort of trade.
How's Danilov in Ottawa without Barkov? And how's Verhaeghe doing with Barkov?
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. So anyway, interesting. But I mean, again, I'm just telling you what I heard. I'm not sure it's the truth.
Yeah. And, you know, on top of that, it's funny. We talk about a blown lead in Florida, and we didn't instantly go to Bobrovsky as the main culprit here. But Mac, I don't care how well you play at $10 million, up 5-3 with 2 minutes to go. You got to close that game out.
And I felt for Mackenzie. Is it Mackenzie Weegar or Weegar Mackenzie? I'm not sure what his name is.
I think you're good with Weegar.
Weegar. I mean, Duchesne did have 3 cracks at that winning goal. 3 shots. It was like boom, boom, and then he puts it up top. I mean, anyway. So anyhow, it was an exciting game. And
continued challenges, Mac.
Yeah.
Now, you've been following the latest here. We've got 3 postponed games. And you can only imagine, Mac, behind the scenes between Gary's office, the medical staff that is advising them, and the Players Association on what the hell is going on here and how long can we continue moving forward if we drop more teams. I know they're going to do everything they can to play on, Mac, but you got to wonder how close they are now to shutting hockey down in the U.S. for maybe 10 days, 2 weeks, just to let it calm down.
Well, look, the positive thing is, that it's dropped 13% in the U.S. in the last little while. So it looks like it's turning the corner. Now, who knows what Super Bowl does. But look, there's so many games being canceled. They're backing up. I'm listening to them last night saying they may back the draft off for a year and have 2 drafts the following June. One for 19-year-olds. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know where this is going, but I feel for them because teams are going to be playing 5 games in 7 nights on a regular basis down the stretch here, and it's going to get ugly.
I'm listening to conversations about drafts in June or the following year. I'm watching all the media get so excited about the Olympics. I'm like, can you just focus on the next 10 days here? Can we just get out of the next 2 weeks here?
Exactly.
Like, you're talking about the Olympics next year. That might as well be 10 years from now. Let's just see what tomorrow brings.
And you mentioned it the other day, rapid testing is a $7 to $10 million price tag, but they got no choice. They
got no choice.
They come with rapid testing.
So right now they do their tests in the morning. The feeling is now they're going to test them when they come back to the rink the night of. and that they're going to kick in the rapid tests when they come back to the rink to play.
Yeah.
So that will help. It's an exorbitant amount of money, Mac. We're talking about millions.
But they've got to
do it.
Choice.
They've got to do it. But I'm now watching them. They're making decisions on the players. They can't come to the rink, and we know those rink rats, Mac. We know that a guy like Steve Larmer. Sometimes I was wondering if he ever went back to the hotel. He just show up at the rink at 2:00 in the afternoon for a 7:05 start. They love it. Hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
Have their chew, their coffee.
Yeah.
But now the rules are that you can't come to the rink longer than 1 minute and 45, an hour and 45 minutes.
And now we have the glass out behind the benches. Everything.
That's guessing. That's not science. I mean,
Dr. Fauci said, take the glass out behind the bench. It will help.
Put a fan. Mac, these guys, we know, on any given time, you go walk into a dressing room, there's 15 guys in the trainer's room, all on top of each other. They're on top of each other waiting for the shitter to open up. They're on top. They're everywhere. What is glass leaving going to do?
There's nobody in the bill, although Florida had a big crowd last night.
They wanted, hey, how about this? They wanted the players to dress at the hotel and walk over to the rink.
Yeah.
I'm like, that was my first year in house league.
Tell them about taking your kid to minor hockey and you left him at the gas station.
Oh my gosh.
Where your head was.
I've told
more people that story.
True story. I was racing to take my kids to the rink and I was out of gas. I pump the gas in, I jump back in, it's a credit card swipe, it's a tap.
Gone.
So you're in and you're out and you're gone. And I'm now driving on the highway. Now it's awfully quiet. I'm like, it's good. I like it this way, nice and quiet, going to the rink.
He's thinking about the game.
I look in the rear view mirror. I got no kids. Gone. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like David Copperfield. He makes a plane disappear. I made my 2 kids disappear. They're back at the gas station.
Getting a chocolate bar.
One's bawling his eyes out. The other one's saying, can I have another chocolate bar?
Anyway, good parenting. Good parenting.
Yeah,
you get lots of tips on this show.
Lots of tips on this show. Yes. Always check the rear view mirror before you start the car. That's it in a nutshell. So I hope, Mac, we can get through this a little bit here. But the players are nervous. They're upset. And we just hope that they can find some common ground. We watched the women try their best to create an environment, Mac, that could keep the women safe in Lake Placid. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the finances, it's to at least contain or test enough where you're comfortable coming to the rink. It's undoable.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And you can imagine even when you're home with your wife going out, the kids, I mean, it's just so challenging to make. I hope the NHL can pull it. And look, they've done such a great job with the bubble. If they could ever get to the playoffs, would they go back to a bubble for the playoffs? Who knows,
Yeah.
But anyway, I guarantee it's keeping Gary Bettman awake at night trying to work through this and deal with the medical people and the scientists and so on.
Well, they're trying. We know they're going to grind it through. And Jordan, overall in the NFL, and I'll ask you because this is more up your alley here. So far, with the amount of guys that we've seen tested, it all comes down to getting it to a Super Bowl, and it really looks like it's going to get pulled off here.
Yeah, I mean, we're days away from Super Bowl LV, and I'm not a Roman numeral guy, but I don't know if you heard earlier this week, there was the controversy with the barber
The haircut.
Yeah, and imagine that story. That would be one of those things that you couldn't believe if they wiped out the Super Bowl because of a haircut.
Was it true that Mahomes was like 20 minutes away from his haircut?
I don't know about the timeline, but I know that I think 50 KC staffers, including players, were scheduled for a haircut that Sunday, and then they got the news and they cut it right out. But yeah, I mean, people in chat, Yoda's talking about the early season NBA and NFL cancellations and postponements. The NBA has I think generally speaking, it's better to compare the NBA and than the NHL than a weekly sport like PGA or the National Football League. So what I'm seeing now is that in the NBA, they're canceling 10 days, 12 days, 14 days in advance, and they're going on with the schedule. They're allowing teams to continue what they're doing. My question is, what happens in the NHL when the Canadian teams are so far ahead of the schedule than American teams because of that? How do they make up for that sort of thing? I know Yoda in chat also says, the borders don't matter until the playoffs. But I mean, how do you get there? How do you have 3 divisions, 15 games, 10 games behind? I don't know if that's a workable situation, really.
Well, the end result was hoping for a 56-game season, and they're still going to try to hit it, and they feel like they've had a certain amount of cushion in their schedule where they could have a couple of hiccups and still find a way to make up the games. But there could come a point in time when it isn't a 56 game season. It ends up being a 48, 49, 50. I think there's going to be a cutoff, much like we did last season, where it's going to come down to you played 52 games, you played 48 games, you played 46. Give me the percentages of your record, and you get in and you get out, and let's start the playoffs.
Well, look, and that comes back to what we talked about earlier in the show about these 3-point games and how critical they are. If you have that type of ending, I mean, these losses like last night for Florida are devastating,
What about those games that the Capitals missed? How important is a single game compared to another game when you're not sure if people are going to be full strength, if you're going to be coming off a 2-week break like we saw with the Stars a couple weeks ago? I don't know. It's just really interesting to me how we're already talking about, like you said, the Olympics, the draft, stuff like that. Like you're putting the cart before the horse there, I think, in a major way. Got to go day by day.
Yeah, exactly. And I look at the standings now. Florida's still at 7 games. Columbus is at 12. I mean, that's a significant gap.
Hey, Jeff Rimmer was really excited. He said, "We're in second place. We're in second place." I said, "How many games you got in hand? How many games have you?" "Oh, we've only played 12."
Vancouver 6-6, right? I think they're at 14 games, right? 6-8. Sorry, 6-8. 14 games. I mean, that's a significant amount right now, and they're on the outside looking in. So I wonder, there could come a point in time when they ask the Canadian division to maybe cool it a little bit and pull back some games. That's always an option too, Jordan, just to keep it within a certain, gap, because it's not fair for some of these teams now to pull off that quickly when you don't know what the end result's going to end up looking like come April.
Yeah,
injuries because of that type of play and goaltending. You're going with your second goaltender a lot of nights because of it. It can change the complexion of who makes the playoffs and who doesn't. The whole schedule.
It's Friday here on the Real Kyper noon show. So if you got any questions out there in the chat, Jordan, we can rifle some off. We got Doug here for a little while longer.
I told the people in chat, I said, hey, we hit 100 likes when we're on stream today. We'll do a full Q&A. So maybe we'll hit, we only hit 55 likes, so I'm not sure if we'll get there today, but maybe we'll do a couple questions as we go through things today. Maybe they'll be my questions just to rub it in the faces of everybody in chat. Yes or no question here, boys. Does Ovi get the record or no? Do we think it's impossible?
No, not a chance. Not a chance.
My gut feeling right from the get-go is that injuries, health, all of it comes into play here. And he's been blessed so far. I mean, he's had some tweaks here and there, but nothing significant. But I'm going to have a lot of fun watching him try. That's for sure.
So what is
I
he
still
away?
think it's a lot.
Is he 180 away?
He's at 709, so 894. You do the math.
Yeah. So so he's got to get 30 goals a year for the next 7 years. Not a chance.
Well, I just
40
I hope not, but I think we'll look at this pandemic maybe as being the difference maker here.
Maybe. Hey,
whatever
it is, you know.
I hope yes, Jordan. But
you want him to beat
my gut.
Finish Eric Gretzky?
Well, I don't care. It's all right, Mac. Gretz knows its records are made to be broken. He said it. I believe him. I don't think he's. You think he's bullshitting? You think he?
Oh yeah, deep down he doesn't want to lose that one. Not a chance. So, not a chance. He's bullshitting.
Is there another player alive right now that you think has an outside chance to get to that
just
level?
A minute. That's like Marleau playing more games than Gordie Howe. If that happens, I may lose it.
Well, I'll tell you, you bring up an interesting point, Jordan, when you say any other players or anything out there. And, you know, we watched Jason Spezza get his 8th career NHL hat trick, and he's done it in 1,100 games.
Wow.
And yet we're watching Pasternak, who's got one more hat trick than Jason Spezza, and he's done it in 393 games.
Listen,
and I'm watching Pasternak going, Mac. He's a pretty special player.
This guy is unbelievable. That him the other night against Philly was a treat. This guy is worth the price of admission. And I know Marchand and Bergeron, but this guy is special. And I hear he is one special kid. Just loves the game. He is a treat to watch. You're right, 100%.
He is. So Ovechkin is, I think, the leader with, 30 off the top of my head in career hat tricks. All-time great, Mac. You know what that number is?
No.
50. By
Gretzky is 50?
50. Mario? 40.
No clue. I bet you got 20 of them against me when I was coaching.
The great soccer legend, Pelé?
Yeah.
92.
Oh, my God.
Are you kidding?
92 hat tricks.
I haven't watched soccer long enough to even see 3 goals scored.
So think about that for a second. Low scoring sport, and this guy's had 92 career. The late
From
Pelé.
What age did that start? It must have started when he was 12. Seriously.
I think it's a pro record, Mac.
Oh, okay.
They start him early. Record. They start him early in soccer, I think. Next question here.
Okay.
We have a lot of discussion about your shirt today, Doug. Some people talking about it.
No. Before we go to the shirt, we gotta now. You know, we talked about Mac. He had major surgery last week.
Yeah.
He just gets over that, and he comes back on the show today. It's Friday, and I'm just hearing we may have to put him back on the IR. He's hurting again, and Mac.
There's the ice bag. I got the ice bag here on the elbow.
Bursitis.
Yes.
You've got bursitis.
Ooh. I've got a golf ball on my elbow.
Let's take a look.
Is that a
Let's take a look.
But you know what? That is from too much tennis, pickleball, golf. That's what it's from.
What?
So I got to ice it for a month, and then the orthopedic says, if not, we're going to have to drain it. But I didn't mind it till my daughter said, Dad, that's gross.
Get Jill to get a safety pin right now. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right now.
And you know what?
You
can't wear short sleeve shirts. It's tough living in Florida when you can't wear it.
Just drain it now. Let's
Look.
drain it on the Real
No,
Kyper at
we're
Noon
not.
show.
We'll get kicked off YouTube for that, I think.
No,
to be
we will
honest.
not. We want. We used to do it in the dressing room all the time.
Hey,
Yeah.
I fight through injuries. I'll play through injuries.
Speaking of fighting, Will Chan in chat says Dougie is dropping the elbow on some people walking around here. You don't mess with Doug, I guess.
Look at that thing. That is ugly.
It's so bad.
So
I go down to the pool. I go down to the pool here, and like people are looking at me like, "Whoa, what the hell is that?"
the golf game, the golf game's on the shelf too. Then, right?
Well, I'm going to have to. I've got to stop it. I can't do tennis, pickleball, and golf. I've got to cut it back because I can't have tennis elbow. Retirement's not easy.
It's not easy because you also have to make some tough decisions. You're going to add to the RV. Is that true? With a Porsche?
I don't.
What are you shopping for today?
No, I don't. I don't think I'm looking, but I'm not. I'm not.
You're itching for a convertible, aren't you?
I do have one. I got the Mini Cooper
Oh, you got the Mini Cooper.
convertible.
All right. Well, so you're just window shopping today, right?
Yeah, maybe you could say that. We'll see.
All right. Any more questions out there? How many likes did we hit? 78.
So we didn't hit the full.
77.
We'll leave that as a little dangling carrot maybe for Monday or something. But yeah, no jokes. People were very interested in the comfort level of your shirt, Doug. People are complimenting you. And is that a mauve color? How would you categorize that?
It's well, you call it mauve, like we call it mauve in Canada.
Oh.
It's kind of it's a Tommy Bahama look,
Very clean.
Which is constant.
Yeah.
Which is constant. Mac, you want to leave our listeners, you want to handicap some games? You like the Bruins and Flyers tonight? What do you like?
I think the Flyers will bounce back. They're a good enough team. They're an improved team. I'd say the Flyers win tonight.
Lightning and Red Wings. Who's got a better chance of winning 10 games this season, Detroit or Ottawa?
Oh man, it's ugly. It's ugly. Stevie Y must be losing it. Seriously.
No.
He's got the John Davidson 7-year rebuild going.
Stevie Yzerman told him right off the bat, this is going to be ugly for a while. He's covered.
He's covered.
He's covered.
He's covered. It's just, even if you're covered, it's still hard on the head.
Well, good news for the video coach in Florida, Mac. He gets to come right back against the Predators and maybe come up with a winning call.
He'd be hesitant to call down to go to review tonight, wouldn't he? He'd have a hard time hitting that button.
At 5-0-2, you got to give the Panthers the edge tonight then, right?
Yeah, you got to give the Panthers the edge.
All right.
I'm not big on Nashville. I don't know why. I'm not a big fan of Nashville.
Their opportunity came and passed, Mac.
Yep, it looks like that.
All right, Golden Knights and the Kings. We give.
Are they playing finally?
Yeah, they're playing. They're going tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern.
I think I'll take the Golden Knights.
Yeah, I think you should. Sharks and Ducks. Is that even watchable?
No, I could care less about that game. Don't even put it on take it right off the mat. I don't even want to watch it.
Come on,
I have no interest in what. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you one thing, and
they're building.
I'll tell you this: John Gibson may be the best goalie in the NHL. This guy,
you got to give him some credit, eh?
Oh my God, this guy's been unbelievable. And people, I don't know if people realize how good this guy is. Every night, this guy is doing the job. I mean, it's amazing to watch. But I'm not watching it tonight.
Well, you got to give Anaheim a little bit of time here. They got the Zegras kid out of the World Juniors, Drysdale coming up. As far as the Sharks are concerned, Mac, it's really bad.
I want to watch. I want the Ducks to turn it around sooner than later because Murph there, the GM, has got that boiler head going. Bob's got that boiler head going. I mean, he is so red during games that it's somebody said I look red on this show. He looks red. Like that boiler head.
Are we talking red. Bruce Boudreau red?
Oh yeah, Bruce Boudreau red. I think he caught it from Bruce.
That is full furnace face.
Oh my God, is it ever? So
okay. Well, listen, we appreciate you coming in less than 100% to do our show. Bursack. I think that's 2 to 4 weeks.
Stay off the pickleball. Dude, I think you
Stay off the pickleball. Pickleball's dangerous.
Who are we picking in the Super Bowl this week, boys? What's going on?
Somebody's got to pick Tampa Bay.
Not it.
Not it, eh?
I'm picking Tampa Bay.
So, what's the spread? What's the latest spread?
-3 currently for the Chiefs.
Oh, you take that.
I'm taking Tampa.
I'll take Tampa with that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm
that
going to take the Chiefs.
Yeah. So yeah, the Chiefs are. Mahomes is so good.
So
but
what
Brady,
before we let you go, what have we heard some of the kind of
but Brady's too perfect. Like, does he get Botox? And I mean, this guy has got the perfect face. Everything's just perfect, right? Have you ever seen anything like it?
You know what I smell right now? Jealousy.
Yes, all of us.
I think I
I
smell jealousy.
Is he not the perfect person?
He's de-aging.
Oh my God Almighty,
Mac.
It's unreal.
In your next life, you want to come back, Tom Brady.
Oh my God,
don't you?
Seriously, what a life!
Before we let everybody go, Jordan.
Yep.
What are some of the bets that I'm hearing that you could like? Are people betting on the color of the Gatorade?
Yeah, so that's what we call a fish bet, because people kind of know the answer to that question based on what color Gatorade or what flavor Gatorade that coach or people drink in that area. What I would say overall, our football betting guy Matt LaMarca said it perfectly on a show earlier this week. There are two types of bets on the Super Bowl. Bets if you want to make money, and bets if you want to have fun. If you want to have fun, bet on the Gatorade, bet on the coin toss, bet on all that sort of random stuff. But if you want to make some money, I would take Chiefs -3. I would go in, I'd probably take the over, depending on what you could get it at. I would take there's a lot of player props out there. We have some great articles on linemovement.com. You can find them all on linemovement.com/NHNFL. And we have just full guides of our pro bettors going through, categorizing the picks they like. I know what I'm on currently, but it's a great time to be a sports fan. All the sports at once.
So it's not like I can go and spend bet $1 million on the color of Gatorade when I can just pay some 12-year-old who's mixing it an hour before the game $20. Like that. Tell me that's not happening.
So on the Super Bowl, prop bet limits are slightly higher than they are normally. If you're a good bettor, you'll usually get cut off anywhere between $1,500 a bet and $2,500 a bet. Usually sportsbooks don't want your action if you're a good bettor like that. But for the Super Bowl, if Nick Kypreos signed up, the people at Sportsbook International, they would say, "Oh, let's take whatever bets he wants to give us," right? So
including the Gatorade, which could be easily leaked. That's my whole point about that information could be easily leaked.
That's why it's so important to find a book or a site that you trust, that you could count on all the time, because some books aren't doing things like Gatorade, right? I only recommend people play on regulated books. Blitzbet.eu is one, depending what jurisdiction you're in. But overall, some of those sketchier props won't get listed on the more reputable websites and stuff like that. So overall, there is some room for fudging, but not much.
All right, Mac, me and you, $5.
Okay.
What color's the Gatorade Sunday? I'll go red.
I'll go yellow.
I think orange is what the money is at, boys. So
the money's orange?
I don't. That's just me. Don't take my word for it. The looks on your faces.
All right. Well, enjoy it, Mac.
Thanks.
All right. We'll see you Monday.
Take care, guys.
Okay. Doug Maclean out of Florida, covering your latest NHL news. Jordan, that was a fun week. Are you there?
Absolutely.
You good?
Yeah.
And where are you watching the Super Bowl?
I'm watching the Super Bowl at my house. I have a projector in my basement. I just got it fixed last week, so going to be watching that with two friends that are living in my neighborhood, keeping it very low key. How about you guys?
Yeah, we're just going to hang out, just a family thing. But not much choice here in Toronto. Everything's shut down and no visitors, so it'll be fine. We'll have a good time.
We're going to have a Super Bowl party here at the house.
Keep it safe.
No, we're not. I'm kidding.
Don't
Hey.
kid like that.
Hey,
All right.
you're halfway safe. You got to play it. You got to play it cool. I was
Come
telling
on,
my
don't-
mom, you know.
Don't
Vaccinated.
don't say that when we're just 10 clicks away from 100 likes, Mac. We're this close to 100 likes, and you just you screwed it up.
Jill and I will be just by ourselves watching it. Anyway, okay, I got to run. I got an appointment.
Go enjoy your Friday. Jordan, thanks, pal. Really
Thanks,
appreciate it. Have a great Super Bowl Sunday, okay? And as far as everybody else out there, stay safe, okay? If it's true, as Max said, that the numbers are coming down in the U.S., that's great. And hopefully we can trend this thing in the right direction. In the meantime, enjoy your Super Bowl. All right? It's Nick Kypreos here on the Real Kyper and Noon Show. Have a great weekend, a safe one, and we'll see you Monday.